Hi everyone, my name is Annette, and you might know me on social media as Nettersplays. Today I'm going to talk to you about Arboretum. So let's get to it. Now in the game Arboretum, you are supposed to imagine yourself as a landscaper, and not just any landscaper, but a landscaper of a beautiful arboretum. And your main duty is to pick and choose which trees to plant for your guests. So which trees will you plant? Because the ones you don't pick are the ones you're going to leave for other landscapers. And you, of course, want to have the most beautiful arboretum possible. So let's take a look at how this game is played. Next, let's talk about the components of Arboretum. As you can see here, very nice quality finish for the front of the box, as well as the back of the box, and the sides as well. Very nice. And not only that, but of course you'll run into the rule book inside. Now this paper that it comes with, it's a fold-out sheet, and it's double-sided. And it comes with really great quality type of paper. It kind of gives the game a very organic feel to it. It comes, of course, with the theme of the game, the setup, the goal, examples, which is always a plus, and then the how to play and the scoring. Not only that, but you'll also get the score sheet right here. And on the score sheet, you can list your different names, and also the different types of trees. You can go ahead and score those, and then there's a grand total on the bottom where you can add them all up. Not only that, but of course you come with the main components of the game, which are the cards. Now the cards come in beautiful different colors. You can see here the magnolias are pink, and of course the maples are red, and a whole bunch of different colors for the different types of trees in this game. Very good quality. And you could see how beautiful and vibrant the colors are. And not just that, you can also pick and choose which colors you want to play with. And also the back of the cards, you can see very good quality. They're all very vibrant green, kind of like a goldish foil to it. And also the white as well makes it pop out. So here are the cards, the score sheet, the rule book, and of course the box. Now let's talk about preparing the whole deck of cards for gameplay. For a 4-player game, you keep all the cards, but for a 3-player game, you're going to end up taking 2 different colors out of game and playing with the rest. For a 2-player game, you'll end up taking 4 different colors, and then you'll end up playing with this deck right here. Once you've figured out your deck according to how many players are playing, you're going to go ahead and figure out who first player is, which will be the last person to water a plant. The person to their right is going to become the dealer. What the dealer does is grabs that deck and shuffles it, and then gives everyone 7 cards, which will become their hand. Once the dealer has done that, then the remaining deck will become the draw deck. They'll go ahead and flip over a card, and that will become each individual player's discard pile. And then that player will decide what to do with their cards. Now when it's your turn, you only have 3 things to do. Draw 2 cards, play a card, and then discard another card. When you're drawing 2 cards, all you have to do is either draw from the draw pile or draw from someone's discard pile, including your own. You can go ahead and mix and match by grabbing 1 card from the draw pile and 1 from any other discard as well, any way you like. Now that I've drawn 2 cards, I'm going to go ahead and play a card. I can play a card by putting it in front of me and starting the path in my arboretum. Once I've played my card, then I go back to my hand and I pick any card and discard it into my discard pile. But remember, whenever you discard it, it will become available to any other player as well. So choose wisely. Once the last card is taken from the draw pile, the game is over. and then we'll go ahead and start adding up our score. To do so, what we'll do is we'll call color by color. So for example, we'll call red. And my total in my hand is 12. My total for yellow is 8. My total for pink is 9. Now, if I have the highest value of red cards, then I get to score my red cards on my tableau. But the only exception is if my opponent has the 1 card, and it would basically knock out this 8 value and turn it into a 0. So then my grand total will become 4. Now that may not be high enough in order to win the total sum, so I can score my pieces. So now for example, if I had my 8 knocked out, and I have a total of 4 for red, but I still manage to have the highest sum of red in my hand, then I can score my red cards. To do so, you'll go ahead and score 1 point per pathway for that color, as long as it starts and ends with the numbers and the color. So for example, 2, 3, 5 is an ascending order. It started with a red card, ended with a red card as well. So I get 1 point for every pathway that's linked in there. Another one is, if I were to score the 5, because I had the highest sum, I would score these 2 cards right here by adding 3, 6. And then, if I looked at here at my cards, I didn't have a single green card, so I missed out on scoring all these cards. Now, whenever you have a pathway that begins with the number 1, then you'll score an additional point for that 1 card. If you go ahead and combine 4 colors in ascending order, descending order of the same color, then you'll score 2 points per card. If you end your pathway with an 8 value card, you scored 2 points. So you can score major points if you manage to go ahead and have the cards necessary in your plateau, but also don't forget about the cards in your hand. You'll also have to have the highest sum in your hand out of everyone in the end. So now that you've added up your score, you just simply put it in your score pad. You add up the grand total, and whoever has the highest score wins. If there's any ties, then just see the book for any tiebreakers. Alright everyone, so welcome back. I'm going to give you my final thoughts of the game Arboretum. So first thing I'm going to go over is the artwork and the components of the game. So just by looking at the cover of the box, you can tell that it's really nice, it's really beautiful, it's really vibrant, this really bright green pops out. And not only that, but on the cards themselves, there's great artwork of each individual tree type. So it's really top quality. The linen itself is great. And not only that, but I was really impressed with the rule book itself. It's a simple little fold out, but not only that, it seems like the publishers actually went out of their way to create this this really thick cardstock that makes, I don't know what kind of paper this is, but it makes the game really feel organic just when you're instantly trying to learn the game and read the rules. So it kind of puts you in that setting. The next thing I want to talk to you about is game length. So Arboretum on the box, it says it's 30 minutes, which I think is pretty fair for 2 players. However, I think with more players, it's going to take a little bit more time. And that's only because of the analysis paralysis that might actually exist in the game. Now, when you're completing your actions and you have a hand of 7 cards and you're deciding when to play and what to discard, that is the point in the game where it might drag a little. So it'll, in my experience, that the games that have been with 3 or 4 players actually has lasted a little bit longer than 30 minutes. So just beware of that time on the box. It's not necessarily true. The next thing I'm going to talk to you about is the player count and the scalability with that. So it says on the box 2 to 4 players, and I think this game actually plays very well with 2, 3, and 4 players. Simply because when you're setting up the game, you're gonna actually take out certain amount of cards. If you're playing with 2, if you're playing with 3, or if you're playing with 4, you just play with the whole deck. And that's really important because the end of the game is based on when this draw deck is going to be done. So if you have more players, of course you're going to need more cards, less players, less cards. So it scales very well according to just that simple setup. So A+ on scalability with all those players. So this game also has a lot of high tactics. And by tactics, I feel that it's a lot of action-reaction in this game. You have a certain strategy that you might want to be focused on doing this one thing. However, you can't just go on that because it's all based on what's available and what you're drawing and what other people are putting down. So you're having to react constantly to what is being played. And so that makes this game very tactful. So I think this is a great game to actually introduce people to tactics and trying to figure out how to deal with what they're dealt with, which is really good for introductory games. So I wanted to go over the fun factor of this game. How fun is this game? And that's really hard to say. But I don't think this game is generally a laugh out loud, just having a blast type game. It's a game where it's a little bit more calm, a little bit more thoughtful and quiet. And I think that's actually pretty fun because it makes it a little bit more elegant and delightful. So yeah, I mean, it's not the high, super laugh out loud game, but I think it's quite delightful of a game too. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is the difficulty and learning curve of this game. So I think that this game is really easy to teach someone new because you're only having to tell them that you do 3 actions. You draw 2 cards, you play a card, and then you discard, and that's it. Not quite. Also, what you have to tell them is the whole scoring, and I think that's where it might get a little messy and a little jumbled. So, so there is a little bit of a learning curve to the game, but I think once you play it the first time and see how the scoring is done, I think the player will get it enough for the second play. Alright, so the replayability factor in this game is pretty high in my opinion, simply because the variability of the shuffle of the cards. So each game that you're playing, yes, it might be the same because you're drawing, you're discarding, and you're playing, but besides that, I mean, which cards are you drawing? How are you playing them? Like, that's always different in every single game that I found with this. So a high replay value with this game. Alright, so the next thing I really want to talk to you about is the game tension in Arboretum. I think there's a really high game tension in this game simply because you're discarding a card. When you're discarding a card from your hand, you really don't want to give a card away to another player and make it useful for them since they could draw from your pile. So it creates that tension like, oh, do I really want to give this person a card, but I really don't want to have it in my hand. So yeah, there's a lot of tension in that aspect. And not just that, but also you're trying to guess what the other players are trying to do and what they might have in their hand. So it does create a little bit of game tension because you don't know what they have in their hand, but you can kind of guess and see. But you know, you're doing a whole betting with that, and I think that makes the game a lot of fun if it has a lot of high tension within the game and the players. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about is that even though you're building your own path, your own arboretum and tableau, and everyone else is doing their own thing too, there is still a lot of interactiveness in this game. One, because you're discarding a card and you're drawing cards from other people's discards. So there's that sense of interactiveness because you know what you don't want to give your opponent, and you also want to take cards from your opponents too if they make it available to you. So there's a lot of interactiveness there with the discard piles. But not just that, you're also looking at what they're building. And if you know they're going to score major points on their tableau on these one cards, these one type of cards, you want to make sure you have that in your hand so that you have the highest value of that so they don't score that. So there's that interactiveness of, you know, I see what you're doing, but I'm gonna take that away from you. And so that's always fun with this game too. So yeah, let me just give you my overall general conclusion of Arboretum. I think this game is really great. It's a really great game because of the artwork, and not just that, just the game itself is fun for all players. I've introduced this game to a lot of different people, and I think they've all enjoyed it. At least they've told me. I've heard lots of people say it's really unique, it's really different, and uniqueness and that difference that sets this game apart is really appealing to me. And yeah, I would highly recommend Arboretum. It's about trees, so yeah, I mean, what can you not like about trees in a game? So, but yeah, definitely check out Arboretum. Also, I want to thank you for watching this video, and if you want to follow me, you can go ahead and subscribe for more videos. And not just that, but I'm also on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, and now I'm on Meeples Included. So yeah, go ahead and give them a follow as well, and all the links will be down below. Leave any comments. If you have anything to say, I usually reply back as well. So yeah, thanks for watching, you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, you guys.